Hello everybody and welcome to the Thursday edition of Video Clips. And just a quick announcement, Monday, January 28th, Conversations with Chef Deli is going to talk about hearty soups and stews, and gosh, I got to have one of those for lunch today. It was delicious. And you can get the recipes emailed to you that he'll be discussing, and of course ask all the questions you want about food preparation and ideas for making foods tastier and how to season foods. And if you've got recipe or food and food prep issues, Del is the guy. I have to tell you, he's turning out like some of the best food ever from the Wellness Farm Kitchen. The other thing is on Tuesday, February 5th, guest speaker Sabrina Seitz, who's a master herbalist, will be talking about herbal remedies for colds and flus. Now, one of the things I like about Sabrina is that while she is an herbalist and she's very good at prescribing, both making and prescribing herbal remedies for people to address health issues, she's very grounded in whole foods, plant-based nutrition. So she does not say take herbal remedies instead of practicing dietary excellence. She comes from the same place that I do, which is that even if you practice dietary excellence, you can develop a cold or the flu and it is resolvable, or you can relieve symptoms by using herbal remedies. So anyway, that is on Tuesday, February 5th. All calls are at 9 p.m. Eastern. So call our office if you want more information on that. All right, so we're still in January. Everybody's making their New Year's resolutions, and some of those should include exercise. If they don't, they should include exercise. It is the hardest thing to get people to do. I've never really had anybody argue with me over whether or not they should exercise, although I will share with you kind of a funny story. I had a guy one time that reported to me that he had read a study that basketball players who thought about basketball every day for an hour played basketball with basketball players who actually played every day for an hour, and the ones who were meditating and thinking about basketball did better. So this guy said, well, I'm thinking about working out at the gym for an hour a day. I said, well, that's really cute, but it's not a substitute for going to the gym. But I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why you might want to get motivated to exercise, even though at this point you might be rolling your eyes and sighing and saying, oh my God, here she goes again, talking about the benefits of exercise. Well, one benefit is stress relief. Researchers at the Maryland School of Public Health randomized college students to either a period of rest or moderate intensity cycling for 30 minutes, and then assessed their anxiety levels before, shortly after, and then exposing them to a series of pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral photographs. Now, in the short term, exercise and quiet rest were equally good at reducing anxiety levels. But before you get all excited and say, aha, I think I'll rest instead of exercise, in the long term, the results were quite different. When the participants were emotionally stimulated, those who rested experienced anxiety levels as high as they were prior to the resting period, but the cyclists maintained their lower stress levels or anxiety levels. So exercise is a great way to deal with the stresses and anxiety that life brings about. I always ask people, are you one of those lucky people who never has stress or anxiety? You're a very rare person if that's the case. I don't see that it's ever going to get any better. I think modern living just it is accompanied by a certain amount of stress and anxiety. So this is a good way to reduce stress, exercise. I always feel better after I do it. And by the way, one other thing I'll insert, somebody was asking me the other day, gosh, how do you make yourself do it? You know, there's snow in the ground here in Columbus and it's cold, and so how do you make yourself go out the door and go to the gym or drive to the yoga studio? And I think the key, I think there are a lot of things, and it goes beyond the scope of this particular broadcast, but I'll tell you one thing. People who deal with anything and make themselves do the right things, part of it is drawing on past experience. In other words, if life is difficult, and you know it's been difficult in the past and you survived, then you can draw on that experience to say, I'm not comfortable right now, this is a terrible situation, but based on my experience, I know things will get better. Well, I guess what I do is I know that sometimes I don't feel like running or going to the gym, but I always feel better after I do it. So I draw on that experience to say, I don't want to go right now, but I know 20 minutes after I start, I'm going to be glad I did, and after I finish, I'm going to feel better, and I'll be able to do my work better and enjoy my day better, etc., etc., etc. So with that in mind, I'll give you another reason to exercise. And this is not the first article I've reported about this issue, which is that exercise helps preserve cognitive function. And Neil Barnard talked about this a little bit. You know, he has a new book coming out this year on diet and lifestyle and the brain. And diet, of course, is an important part of it, but other lifestyle habits, including exercise, are very important too. This particular study looked at the effect of exercise on cognitive function and found that in people over the age of 70, those who were regular exercisers had less brain shrinkage than those who did little or no exercise. And where this becomes important is as your brain shrinks in size, you have problems with both thinking and memory. The other thing is examination of the white matter in the brains of study participants showed that active people had fewer damaged areas than their sedentary counterparts. And the active people also had more gray matter, which includes the parts of the brain that are responsible for muscle control, sensory perception, memory, emotions, and speech. So if you're going to live fully, you not only have to have a strong body, but you have to have a strong mind, and exercise helps with both. We've talked about this many times in the past about building muscle and burning fat and that sort of thing. So you want a strong body, but you also need a strong mind. And if you want to live independently as you age, you need to be able to have quick reflexes for activities like driving and the ability to engage in conversation and to read and to enjoy life. And for those people who might be watching this thinking that exercise is only for the young, you ought to read some publications like Runner's World, where they talk about people who are 88 and running marathons, and watch Forks Over Knives, Ruth Heydrich entering triathlons in her mid-70s, and even come to my yoga studio in my gym. We have 75-year-old guys that box at the gym, and we have people in their 70s coming to yoga, 90 minutes in that 105-degree room with 40% humidity. So if you're watching this thinking, I'm too old to do this, think again. That's not true. So I guess in closing, I'm going to continue to nag you gently. If I see you personally at one of our conferences or here in the Wellness Forum, I'm going to nag you face-to-face, but I'll nag you in group by continuing to put out messages on a regular basis about why you should become and remain physically active. Well, that's all for now. I'll be back to you next week, and as always, please pass this along to anybody who you think would benefit from seeing it.